I think the problem is like when society says it's never the woman's fault, always believe the woman. I've seen so many women just be like ravenous, like just become monsters and just like take what they can. And that's what you're seeing on the Fresh and Fit podcast. That's what you're seeing in Miami. That's what you're seeing in LA.
Entitled mindset.
Entitled, like, it's my show, it's my life, I could do whatever I want, the man is this, the man is crap, the man is trash. First of all, I didn't even know what this was. Like, I didn't know what red pill was. I didn't know what any of these things.
When did you find out about this?
As I'm researching it, as I'm filming videos, because I'm sitting here like I'm creating content for women. That's my main demographic, right? But the things that I'm saying relate to or are very intentional for guys as well, because you guys have been saying this over and over and over.
Yeah.
Plus, you know, I watch Kevin Samuels. My husband and I love Kevin Samuels. We've been watching him for like months now. We started watching that, but then I was like, the way that Kevin speaks to women, he speaks to everyone like that. Like, that's what women, I don't think, understand. Like, if you watched his videos back in the day, he speaks to men the same way. He's like, you're fat, overweight, you should probably lose weight.
I've been following him for years, yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, now that the content, so now his content skews more women, and more women are in his in his comments. And I was like, duh, of course that's going to happen. And then now more guys are in my comments because of the same fact. I'm speaking as a woman to women, and it just doesn't, like, I call out bad behavior. If it's bad behavior, I'm going to call it out. And my reaction videos are typically like, I educate while I react, kind of like what you do as well, right? Like, I'm not just going to be like, oh yeah, that was dope, like, cool, you know, she's stupid. Like, the
education while reaction is the key.
Yeah, and you're going to get value from the actual video, and I can point to things that are problematic within the video, right? And that's what I'm trying to do, but it's skewed to the Manosphere. And like, I didn't know what MGT, whatever, like the acronym was.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say is, like, what I'm starting to see is that men who've gone their own way, some of them, not all of them, but a lot of them are like getting to the point where I think they're becoming bitter about women. And I don't
have any tolerance for MGTOW. I don't have any tolerance for men who complain. Overall, that whole group of men, they're just complainers.
Yeah.
There's a sect of RP with guys who just complain. And I asked guys on my channel, I said, guys, a serious question. When's the last time you actually approached a woman? Mm-hmm. I'm seeing guys say 7 years, 15 years. I'm like, wait, I hope you guys are on like dating apps at least. Some of them are like, yeah, I do dating apps instead. So I'm like, okay. Some of them are like, no, it's been like 30 years since I've approached a woman because women have got nothing good for you. I'm like, oh no, bro, you got bigger problems than that. Like,
do you need therapy?
Yeah, there's bigger problems than that. I go into this whole shit, man. It says we don't complain over here. We're not people who completely step away from relationships and things like that. You know, that's not my.
I know that's I think I'm gonna address that too, because I think a lot of the guys that have gone onto my channel, they're like, oh, she's speaking the truth, blah, blah. I hope more women get it. I'm like, yeah, well, if you attack every woman that comes into my comments, that's also not going to be beneficial to the conversation. You just want to, and that's the thing too. They're like, oh, she's a pick me girl. Like, I'm a pick me girl.
The girls will call you that for sure.
No, the guys call me that too. There's some guys that call me that too. And I was just like, come on, man. Like,
some of those, yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like, that's the one thing. I'm like, I just have thick skin. I've always had thick skin. I don't care. Like, it doesn't bother me, but I read all my comments and I just think it's hilarious. I just want to put like like laugh emojis on all of the things. They're like, your husband is a simp. You're blah, blah, blah. Like, my husband was like, you better call that guy up. I was like, babe, you got to go on here and fight for yourself. He's like, no, I'm not going to do that.
You said fight for what? Fight for your husband?
Yeah, I was like, we gotta fight. I gotta fight for my husband. I'm like, you can talk shit about me all day long.
That
but
is
you don't
hilarious.
You don't talk about my husband.
Here's the thing. It's like there's two things with me. Is like I'm putting the fan on here because it's kind of hot in here. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
There's two things with me. It gets to a point where I just tell myself, bro, there's nothing you can do with all these damn comments. There's too many, especially when you get to like, I'm nearing 20K, sometimes like they'll just be way too much. But at the same time, I'm torn between like, cause I listen to Gary Vee a lot.
I love Gary Vee.
Yeah. Gary's awesome. Yeah, I've always wondered, right, with the content I do, it's like, would Gary like me because I'm over here?
He would.
Sure. He's crazy. He followed me on Twitter based on some Clubhouse stuff, and I was supposed to talk to him, but it just didn't fall through.
He's a cool guy. I met him in New York when I was living. I have a bunch of friends that. So I was in the entrepreneurial scene there. I had a bunch of friends who worked there, and also it's the same way as like you go to Hollywood, right? And you think you're gonna like meet all your like whatever. He's cool. He's really cool, but he's very like, okay, let's go. Let's like keep it moving. You know?
I totally see that.
Yeah.
I don't see it any other way. But yeah, I want to connect with my audience. I think the way I separate myself, and I really am intentional with this, is doing the Gary Vee thing of spending like an hour.
That's what I do too. I'll spend the first 2 hours just whatever comes in. And for me right now, it's not like I get maybe like 300 comments per video. You know who you should, I don't know if you've tried to connect with them, the roommates. I think your content and the roommates content, like I love them, you know, they are like solid guys, Hafiz and Chris. This
is a really like specific niche. And people do really well in this niche too, because it takes guts to talk about this shit. It's not like getting on there and doing like a tutorial of how to something. It's you're actually saying some stuff that people could be like, hey, I don't like you because of what you said. You know?
Exactly. I think that, and that's something I don't want to get too political, but like, I hinted in the video is like this whole woke ideology thing. Like I don't subscribe to it. I wanted to make more videos about it. The problem that occurs here is that, if you start speaking things that don't like, this is, how do I explain this? This is very like, this is very focused on relationships, but it applies to the general. Yes. So like talking about victimhood, that's a whole broad topic that like touches different aspects of life. So I have to do that via podcast, right? Because the things that I want to say are going to get really censored on YouTube. I do the relationship stuff because you can teach a lot about life and like my whole thing is like taking personal accountability, responsibility, and having self-awareness. That's what I'm going to break it down to at all times a day, because I think that's what's missing in the world right now. So the problem is that, and either side of the coin, women and men, and then you see like the whole non-binary thing, right? Gender is fluid, gender is this, and blah, blah, blah. It's confusing people, and this is why we're all like messed up. And I try to touch on that without, getting too political about it. I have to do that on a different platform.
This is true. I'm starting to like put limits in what I talk about too. Yeah. And I think the limit I'll have on stuff is like, if I don't know much about it, I won't talk about it. Yeah. That's what I'm leaning towards. It's like, if I get into a conversation I don't know much about, I have made maybe like one video that got pretty popular about like that whole, kind of like plan to like victim make men victims and women victims and make them dependent and argue amongst each other. But yeah, that's definitely real stuff.
I
To me, I feel like YouTube. Would you call YouTube a podcast? Because I think it's a video. YouTube is a podcast.
Oh,
I always have a weird thing with that.
It is a podcast, but the thing is, like, YouTube censors too much. Like, if we had a real, like if you wanted to say feminist, if you wanted to say red pill, if you want to say all that stuff, you can say that on a podcast. You can't say that on YouTube because it will censor you and it will take your videos down. I had a video that I talked about casual sex, like why I think casual sex is problematic. As soon as I put it in my thumbnail, they automatically demonetize that video.
Wow.
But you can Google search or you can YouTube search naked yoga. I don't know if you've done this before. Naked yoga, and all the parts, you look straight up women's,
no
vagina.
Way. On YouTube.
Yes. Look it up. I'm not kidding. I think the mediocre the guy that does it's like his name is like mediocre something.
MTR.
Yes, he's the one who talked about it. He's like, you're telling me that you're demonetizing my things that I'm talking about, sexual promiscuity, that it's a bad thing, that people shouldn't be doing that, yet you will let, he goes, the whole the innards come out.
The viscosity,
the viscous fluids or whatever. He's like, you're going to let all that.
Viscous innards.
And you know what it is? They label it as educational content. So if you want to, yeah. So if your YouTube isn't censored for children, like any person can put naked yoga, and there's thousands of these videos, millions and millions of views of just a lady saying, like, literally full blown naked, like no YouTube. Nothing. YouTube.
Wow.
Full monetization.
Mind blowing. What?
Full monetization. You just got to label everything.
That's like an obvious, you just got to label everything what?
Educational.
Educational, and they'll allow it.
Well, that's what they say. That's in their guidelines.
That reminds me of, I just had a guest on. I'm going to tell her this. She said she had a BBL recently done.
Okay.
Right? She's one of my guests. Her name is Megan. But they demonetized her for showing, like, she wasn't naked or anything. She just had her butt and showed them before and after on the thumbnail. It was like BBL. And they demonetized her.
It's mostly the thumbnail, I think. I think the algorithm, what it does, I don't think it rolls through your video unless it picks up, like if you tag things like BBL, or if you tag things that are problematic in the YouTube algorithm or whatever, they look primarily at the thumbnail and the tags. So if your tags have any problems with it, they're going to be like, gotcha. This is not something that we want on our platform. No one's going to say like naked yoga as a tag. I don't know. Maybe they do. But they get away with it. They put yoga,
That's
namaste,
crazy.
like, Wow. So they can monetize all of their content. But as soon as you talk about, or if you have anything on your thumbnails that say like sex or porn or something like that, like I give my testimony about like giving up porn, and it was demonetized. So I don't know. Like I'm telling you, like not to watch porn, and they're demonetizing all my stuff. Yeah, it's crazy. It's nuts. But if you talk about it on a podcast, and this is why Patreon is so cool, because you can say red pill, you can say feminist, you can say all these things, and I say it regardless. I don't care. Like sometimes I say feminist, like one of my videos say it all the time.
I'll just say be careful and watch other men, because not other men who, because I don't do it because I see other guys with much larger platforms not doing it. But in the past, within the RP community, we've seen so many guys get taken down, a lot, just because he violated something. In YouTube, there's no place you can really call him and negotiate this stuff. You just start from scratch and build again. I'm working on getting a text thing.
Yeah.
and trying to get that on there. But yeah, I would look into Patreon. I would get your merch over there. As soon as you hit 10K, you'd be able to do your merchandise.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think they want my merchandise.
I mean, you could do, and don't just think of clothes. Like, you can sell a book. You know,
that's true.
You can sell a how to start YouTube book. I'm doing that right now.
Cool.
There's a bunch of people that hit me up and think like, hey, I have a YouTube channel. Give me some advice, blah, blah. I can refer them to a book I have. I'll be like, actually, I have a book, blah, blah, blah.
That's cool. Yeah, that's,
and
I mean, like, that's the thing too. Like, you grew, like, you have an organic channel. Like, you know, like, you built it from the ground up. It took me, like, I started YouTube in 2016, I don't even know. Like, I just had it up and I never made videos. And then this year is the first year I've been on YouTube, like, making the hair videos and stuff. I didn't know what I was doing. Like, I did my head shaving video. That thing got freaking, I think, 425,000 views. And all I did was shave my head. Then 2,000 people joined or I think 1,000 people joined. I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, I didn't know I should have made other content, you know.
I bet those hair people love you now.
They hate me. They're like the girl who went away. And I get people who, like, ask me, like, you want to talk about DMs. I get guys that DM me like, can you shave your head? I'll pay you $25,000 for you to shave your head for me. I was like,
what?
I'm cool. My husband's like, let's do it. Capitalize on it.
What the fuck? I'm like, hell yeah. Send
fuck
money
that.
First. Send half and she shave the rest.
Yeah,
shit,
right?
Who sends you this hair in a bag?
I was like, I will do my undercut. I keep an undercut.
Dude, as soon as I found out people were selling feed pictures on freaking, what's it called? Okay. I'll be honest with you. I don't hate on some of that stuff. The feed pictures, shit. If you're out here dumb enough to buy feet pictures, feet pictures. I know. A lot of guys have, you know, foot fetish stuff. You know what I mean? I get it. Your feet look nice, but if you're paying for feet pictures,
I know,
thousands of dollars. God,
guys have reached out to me like full head. Skin fade, like skin, what's it called? Like skin fade. Like, I want to see all your hair off. I want a lock of your hair. I'm like, you're fucking weird. Sorry, I'm not doing that.
That is crazy, bro.
Yeah, it gets a little strange.
Some of these guys are freaking crazy.
Yeah, and then I get some of the guys who are like, you should grow out your hair. Men don't like short hair. Men want long hair. And I was like,
married.
What do you all want? Like,
I'll tell you a good response to that. I'm customized for my man.
That's what I say. My husband decides what my hair is. Okay,
There you go.
He likes me like this. He likes me with my hair short. He likes me with my hair long. Who cares? It's not for you.
So there's like the Gary Vee thing of like, connect with your audience, go and talk to every fucking person. And then there's like the Joe Rogan thing. He says post and ghost.
I love Joe Rogan.
He says post and ghost.
Yeah, because he has millions of people that like comment on his thing. It's not.
Maybe that's what it is, huh? I'm like, Joe, you can do that because you like, you know, don't have to care about engagement.
Yeah,
post and ghost.
He literally like is the highest paid podcaster on the planet. Like, he can literally post and ghost. And the thing is, like, Gary Vee has a huge following, like huge following. But like, he's always been that way. He's preached that from like the jump. He's always said, engage. He's on every platform before the platform even like
and I think Gary has a more personal connection with the audience. Mm-hmm. Like when you see him and you probably hear him talk, you're like, I kind of know this guy, which is why I like the content I'm doing. I've always thought to myself, I would hate to be doing something and then get really successful from it. Mm-hmm. And then somebody hear my views on like women and modern stuff and be like, oh, let's attack this guy who's really successful now. No. This is who I am. So that when they hear me say something like, hey, I don't agree with all that feminist stuff, they could be like, huh. Usually they'll be like, that's just the way he is. Ignore that guy. Yeah, and that's what
that's what I want too. Like for the longest time I was, like I told you, I was the feminist queen. Like, literally drank the Kool-Aid, all that stuff. So when people see me now, like even friends, like I've lost a lot of friends from saying speaking the truth. You know, I've been called and having internalized misogyny. I'm a bigot. I'm this and that, the third. Like, I don't care. Like, you could literally say whatever you want to me at this point, because you're going to end up alone. And I ended up with a happy marriage, and I'm getting everything that I've ever dreamed and like wanted, and the success too. Like, you know, you can, it's not saying that you can have everything, but like today's day, like, the women are so toxic. Like, they're so just like, jeez. I don't know how you date in LA.
I don't.
Okay.
I've been in LA for, what's it, 5 months now, 4 months.
Oh,
I've gone on one date. I've gone on one date, and I really didn't want to go. I'm focused on the YouTube thing at the end of the day. Like, I'm in like focus mode, but I'm planning to start dating more, because I realize on my Patreon, I'll be cool content to be like, hey guys, went on a date today.
Yeah, that's actually cool.
You know, I'm considering that, but it's so crazy out here. It is crazy.
I know. I lived out there. Everyone's fake. Same thing here. I mean, same thing in Miami. Thank God. My husband, I met him in New York. We met face to face. He approached me. It was the whole thing, right? Like, he had game. I was like, oh, hello there. You know, it was like meant to be, right?
Awesome. That's wonderful.
But like, if I was still in my like hoe phase, this is the land of the free over here. Like, we're sitting in like STD Central in Fort Lauderdale, man. Like Miami area. It's crazy.
Miami STD rates, man. That shit is so crazy. Man.
Because everyone's trying to get.
I mean, it is like spring break capital over there. The thing is crazy. STDs alone are just enough for me to be like, nah, I'm good.
I'm cool off that.
Coachella had that huge breakout. No.
Yeah.
No.
Well, it's not good. I feel for a lot of the guys that reach out in the comments like, this is messed up. Like, you know, I can't imagine what it feels like for a man to date, you know, because I know how difficult it was as a woman to date, but like, I also was the problem. So
as a woman, you still had like guys who would spend time with you because they wanted to smash or whatever. Mm-hmm. But to be a guy today who doesn't have a male role model, you are letting yourself go with your weight, right? You're not interacting with women. You're raised up by a single mom. That situation is like, you know what I mean? You're feminine right there, and you're also to fight through issues. You haven't learned to work through things because you haven't seen a man do it in your own life, right? Those guys are not happy
at all.
They're not happy.
Yeah.
But when they find this type of like RP content, it's like a breath of fresh air. They finally can look up to some guys that when I first was introduced to content like this, I looked up to certain guys who said, hey, doesn't matter what you do, every day is an opportunity to improve. You got to get up. You got to hit the gym. You got to set goals in your life. No one's going to make it happen for you. Complaining is going to get you nowhere at the end of the day.
See, this is why the reason why this works for men is because men were geared that way to like to literally have I wouldn't say the stamina, but like the ability to like kind of get the feelings out of the way and be like, yeah, of course I need to like do all these things to get a woman. A woman, that does not happen. Like, you call a woman on her bluff and she will literally claw you to death. It's so strange. Like the whole thing that was happening on the podcast as well. Like, you're seeing these women, like, they don't know how to take criticism because we've never had criticism. No one's ever given us criticism. Like, my dad told me how it was. My mom told me how life was. You know, my parents are both they both immigrated here from Brazil. They said, life is hard everywhere else. You better love your life here in the US. Now,
hey, I'm an immigrant as well, born in Southern Africa, Zambia.
Yeah. And like, you have a different work ethic. There's a different level that you like,
of appreciation.
Of appreciation. And now like all these people are like crapping on everything. Like, you live in the best country. You live in the best time of your life. You're living in like we have the like best technology, the most connectivity, all this other stuff. And you're going to complain about literally every single thing. But when it comes back to the women part, said no one's ever held a woman accountable. They said, you're the queen, you're mother goddess, you are this, you know, like the whole praise women. Okay, you're not, like, we have our stuff that we need to work on too. We're not like angels, you know, we're far beyond, like, we're far from that, you know? And I think the problem is like, when society says it's never the woman's fault, always believe the woman. I've seen so many women just be like ravenous, like just become monsters and just like take what they can. And that's what you're seeing on the Fresh and Fit podcast. That's what you're seeing in Miami. That's what you're seeing in LA.
Entitled mindset.
Entitled, like, it's my show, it's my life, I could do whatever I want. The man is this, the man is like, the man is crap, the man is trash. No, baby, you're trash.
Yeah, and it also has to, on top of what you just said there, that delusion is crazy, and a lot of it also has to do with these men who they come in contact with. The majority of men who women come in contact with today are beta males.
Yeah.
Right? As in, they don't want to take lead in the situation. When we talk about alpha and beta, a lot of this stuff gets mixed around and people want to start adding different things to it. Alpha simply means leader. And, you know, he's able to take control in a relationship with the woman. When he's dealing with women, he's able to take that leader role. A lot of men today, they teeter that line of like, do I really want to? Well, you know, I don't want to be misogynistic. I don't want to be this. They don't know that women like that stuff. The guys who get the most women tend to be the type of guys who are direct, intentional, have a plan. Those are the type of women, those are the type of men, that women are attracted to, because they feel secure, they feel safe, they feed into that that nature side of a woman. You know what I mean? But yeah, the Sims are the ones that teach these women that that type of behavior is acceptable, is what I'm getting to. They have all these guys who allow them to get away with these bad behavior, repeated bad behavior. Then they finally run into a guy and be like, why are you different? Why do you have qualifications? Well, you must be the problem, because every other guy I deal with this is why I say men themselves are the biggest problem today, because most men don't want to stand up.
Exactly. They waved the white flag. They gave up. They keeled over. They're like, here. And then women picked up the flag and they ran with it. They're like, if you don't want to take charge, I'll take charge. Like, because that's what I said in the podcast. Women desperately need security, and if they're not going to get it from the man, they're going to do it themselves. They're going to take the lead, they're going to take the charge, and it's because it's an intrinsic part of who we are as women. We need security, and if we don't get security, and if the man is going to be a beta male who wants to just keel over and be like, I don't want to make decisions,
I don't want to make decisions, I don't want to work hard, I don't want to be competitive.
Yeah. And then I see it in marriages now. Like, I see women just ruling the house. Like
tyrants.
Just, this is my house. This is how it goes.
Oh yeah.
And I tell my friends too, who behave this way. I'm like, girlfriend, let's sit down. Okay. This behavior is not going to help you. Your man is either just going to give up, like just retreat inside, and like will stay with you because he doesn't want to deal with the problem of divorce, or he's going to go out. He's going to step out on the marriage. He's going to find another woman who he wants to have relations with, and you're going to be stuck in this situation. And I say, you got to change the way that you're behaving in the house. When my husband comes home, I say, hey babe, how are you? He sits down. He needs 20 minutes. I know he needs that 20 minutes. Sometimes he needs 45 minutes. The dinner's on the table. I say, dinner's ready. He eats, and then we talk. I know
Yeah.
that he needs to decompress from the day. I'm not going to say, babe, oh my God, I need your help, blah, blah, blah.
That idea right there, that like my man should be like my girlfriend.
Yeah.
Lose that thought. For every person who might be watching this right now, especially men, there's just certain things like you don't treat I had to learn this. You don't treat your woman like she's you don't treat your woman like she's one of your like best friends, like a gossip buddy.
Yeah.
There should be a clear difference of like, this is my man. I don't rush to him with all my problems and unnecessary gossip. He doesn't give a fuck about that stuff.
He
at the end
literally
of the day.
could not care less. Like, when he's ready to talk is when we talk. That's not like a bad dynamic. That's because during the day, I'm here, like I work from home, I'm cleaning the house, I'm cooking dinner, right? Like I'm home. Yeah, I talk to people and I talk to my sisters and my mom, but like he's literally on the phone all day long trying to close deals. Like he's working, he's exhausted, and he wants to come home to peace and quiet and not about my day. Like
one thing you said there about your friends who like want to take over the house. The catch is that they're the ones that end up leaving.
Yes.
You know, I've heard KS say pressures are made for shoulders, not hips. And they have this misconception that like, hey, I can take charge too. No, you're going to take charge and then you're going to leave because pressures are made for shoulders, not hips. And you're going to put more on yourself than is meant to. And then you're going to blame him and say, oh, he wasn't shit. He didn't do this and that. And he didn't do this and that.
Yeah.
When he just decided to back off. He shouldn't have done that. Right. But he backed off, and she is the one that ends up leaving, just like you said.
And the thing is too, like what I say, I'm like, you guys should go to counseling. Like premarital counseling was the best thing that ever happened to my relationship with my husband, because first of all, I had a male counselor. He was an ex-cop. He's a school he's a principal. The man was direct. Okay. He called me on all my crap, everything.
Wow.
He was like, you cannot be this way. You're like, this is not how a woman should act.
Do you think that a female counselor would have done that?
No.
Okay.
No, she would have coddled me. She would have said, girl, it's not your fault. Like, oh,
But in that moment, you didn't need that.
No. And I was very angry at first. Like, I didn't want to be spoken to like that. Right. But what happened is that I changed because I needed to. I said, well, this is what I want at the end of the day. I want marriage at the end of the day. I want to be with my husband. He is the one that I want to be with. So he also changed, right? He also learned how to take the lead. He also learned how to have, better responsibility, all that stuff. We both changed together, right? And I think that was important. Now, we go to counseling. We have group on Saturdays. We learn from other couples about what relationships are about. We're not sitting here saying we're perfect. We know everything. We don't have any problems. No, things happen. Life happens. You have financial problems. You have marital problems. You have friendship problems. My dad passed away. You have family problems, right? So these things happen. You cannot, the thing that scares me is the relationships that I see today, everything is about that person and it's not about the partner. It's about me. I don't care. It's my house. It's my feelings, and that person doesn't matter. But I watched my husband literally hold me when I was going through the pain of losing my father. He sat there and literally took care of me as I couldn't even take care of myself. That is what a relationship is. That is what marriage looks like. It's not put me on a jet, put me on a buy me the bag, buy me the car, buy me this. Yeah. It's about literally being together, going through these moments in life together and getting through them. And sometimes counseling is required. I think that's the last ditch effort for so many people. And that's a huge problem because you get to a point where you're so resentful, you're so like out of your wits, you don't want to have sex with your husband, you don't want to even look at them, like you just, and as women, like, again, women, we hold things for a long time. We'll just like keep just stacking it on, and we explode. And when we explode, it's like freaking atomic bomb. Yeah. It's really bad. And then, you know, there's not much you can do after that, especially if women withhold sex. I have, like, my mom said, you have to have sex with your husband, even if you don't feel like it. And then they, like, I hear women say, well,
no,
that's
a
marital,
right there.
That's marital rape. No, it's not. Yeah. If a man is required, like if my husband woke up, I don't feel like going to work. Can you go to work for me? Or, you know, I'm just going to stay here for a couple of days. I'd be like, get your butt up and go to work. Oh, I don't feel like it. Well, that's the same argument as a woman. You don't want to have sex with your husband? That is your role as a spouse. Okay? Men want to have sex.
Oh, I'm mad at you now.
Come at me now. Women are supposed to have sex with their husbands. I don't know where this like kind of went out the window. Like we have all this sex before marriage.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Husbands
this sex before marriage.
Modern day husbands get no sex.
They get no sex.
That's just the truth. It's like you get married and then the fun, literally, like all the good stuff. That's what guys know. Guys know that now. You know, guys know that now. They know that women today, when you give them the power, they're like, you know what? I have the power. I want to say no to sex. I want to not do anything whatsoever. In fact, I want to take all the power, say no to sex, be a headache, and also like make the situation a lot difficult. And so my generation of guys, you know, we're hearing this stuff from guys a lot older than us who are telling us like, yep, this is how it goes, man. She cheated on me, or yep, we what's it called? You get laid every Wednesdays, you know.
Oh yeah.
That's some whack stuff
it's on
to
the
me.
Schedule.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If you're gonna schedule in sex once a month for me, then I might as well like just freaking go figure out something else to do, because that doesn't make sense to me.
And that's the thing is like I tell people, I tell my friends who are women and who are wives, and I'm telling like, you're starving your man, you're depriving him, because one of the love languages that men often have, the number one love language, is physical touch. Physical touch not only means hugging and kissing and holding hands, which is amazing. Men need that as well. When you deprive a man of that, when you deprive your husband of physical touch, of you know, feeling like skin on skin, right? They lose their mind. They're like, their love tank gets depleted. Because for women, we don't need that. Like, I don't particularly need sex every day, but I know that my husband needs it a few times a week. And when I engage in it, right, this might be a little TMI. When I engage in it, if I didn't feel like it, I still love the experience, because one, I give something to my husband that he needed, right? And then at the end of the day, I feel happy, he feels satisfied, and we go to bed happy. Like, I don't understand. And like, you know.
This conversation came up on Fresh and Fit, actually. It came up on their podcast.
Oh, really?
I remember it coming up. And in my mind, I thought the exact same thing you thought. He wakes up every day. He has to provide. Someone comes into the house. What's he going to do? Decide he's not going to protect you and die for you? I mean, you sit there and go, I know, but this is my body. Yeah, he's risking his life. When a man decides to make you his girl, he decides to have you under his protection, that means he's risking his life. That's in his nature to kill for you in case somebody comes and physically tries to harm you. And the civilized world we've created, where that type of thought, the thought of someone coming to physically harm you, is like out of this world.
Yeah.
Because you're in a country that's so first world, you don't understand. The rest of the world has to think about this stuff. You live in an unrealistic reality, right?
Yeah.
Not reality. It's an unrealistic world. That
La La Land.
La La Land, far from the truth. Your man's risking his life when he chooses to be with you. Men are ready to put their lives on line for their children, their family, their wife. Then you want to sit there and talk about, well, if I don't feel like it, I'm not going to. Yeah.
It's absurd. And the reason why men step out of the relationship, of the marriage, is primarily because women withhold sex, withhold touching, withhold any sort of affection given to their husband. Why? Because I'm annoyed. I'm upset. You upset me today. Oh, well, I'm sorry. Well, I'm like, your feelings, like, that's why I say feelings are fickle, right?
Yeah.
Feelings are fickle. That's why men are more logical than women. That's why, like, so when my husband and I were like early in dating and early in marriage, I would pick fights with him on purpose to see what his response would be. I'll take ownership of that.
You were
I know.
sick.
Yeah, I was mentally ill. Okay. I was mentally ill. I would pick fights just to see what his response would be.
You know, you hear that type of stuff, and you think, "No, that can't be. Women don't do that."
Oh no, that's 100%.
I picked that up too. That sometimes the women just start shit to just see. They just get a rise out of you.
To get a rise.
Getting emotional. It's like, he cares. He's angry. He cares about me.
That's toxic. That's toxic.
Not-
Because here's what's happening. You're creating a situation that doesn't need to happen, right? You're in your feelings, you're all this other stuff. The man literally could not care less. He's like, I just want to be alone. Like, I just want peace and quiet, and like to come to my house where I pay the mortgage or pay the rent, and I just want to sit on my couch. I want to eat my dinner, and I want to be like, I just want to be still after this long day of work, right? Mm-hmm. And then women are sitting here like me. I was like, well, you don't love me anymore. And like, I'm like, I don't see you touching me and like being affectionate with me. I'm like, Rebecca, when I had this full conversation, 3-hour conversation with my counselor. And he was like, you're ridiculous. This is bad. You should not do that. And then as soon as I flipped the script on it, right? As soon as I stopped doing that, our life has been, I wouldn't say easy, but it's been relaxed. It's been
as soon as you
calm.
started stop making up problems.
Yeah.
And
it's so crazy. Like, we can just sit here. We can sit here and have full conversations.
Do you feel like women have this like desire for drama too?
Yes.
They just love drama. And that's part of the reason why they like these, bad boys and these guys who are going to be difficult. It's like they kind of like chaos, whether it's through like movies they watch. They want to relive these like movies
The Real
they
Housewives.
read, and they're like reading, Grey's Anatomy, watching too much of Grey's Anatomy. That show, man, I haven't met a woman that doesn't love that show.
No, they want to hear that. They want to be the housewives of whatever, because those shows promote drama, women doing drama. No woman, that's not the nature of a woman. And so when you become combative and you take it inside the house, my husband literally, when I started this crap, he'd be like, are you done? Like, I'm checked out. So whenever you're done, I'll are you like, you're okay, right? Cool. I'm going to go take a shower.
He handled that well. He handled that well.
Because you know what
and meet you at the same level. Because you're in your
that's one thing he said. There. Exactly. That's what he says. He says feminine men fight with women. I don't fight with women. I don't fight with my woman. I'm not going to fight with you.
He knows what he's doing for sure.
And that made me even worse. That triggered me.
I know. That pissed you off. I know. I've seen it plenty of times. The girl goes off, and I'd go over, I look at her, the same thing. Plenty of times. I just look at her, I'm like, hey, let's talk about this when you're not like this.
Yeah, and I'm like,
and they're looking at you like, what the fuck? You're supposed to be yelling with me. You're supposed to be raising your voice. No. All that yelling and raising your voice to women, that is what women want. A lot of the times when they decide to act like that, That's number one. You're feeding into it. Number two is it's extreme feminine behavior, right? You're not composed. You're not maintaining masculine frame. Keeping it cool, very attractive, number one. Number two, it keeps things in order. Yeah.
100%. I love this. Okay, we need to stop.
Awesome conversation. Yeah, no. I'm gonna save this. I'm gonna get to some editing over here, but this has been awesome. We did like 2 in 1. Had some great convo. Appreciate you, Rebecca. Wish you continued success.
All right.
Good stuff. All right. Have a great rest of your day.
All right. You too. Bye.
Sounds good.